Photoshop blend modes. There's 27 of them, they have confusing names, and I'm here to let you know which ones are actually useful for nature photography, because, spoiler alert, you can just ignore most of them. Try to think about this like how some grandchildren have designed custom TV remote coverings for their grandparents to make sure they're only using the number of buttons that they actually need. Because unless you are a graphic designer, you really only need to use a few of them. Adobe's own webpage does tell you exactly how the algorithm works for each blend mode, but I don't know any artist that thinks in math equations. So without further ado, let's start with the first blend mode in descending order, which is darker color. If your images are suffering from halos like you see here, go over and grab your clone stamp tool and change the blend mode from normal down to darker color. At this point, you want to sample a nearby area in the sky, click, and then just simply brush away that halo along the edge. The next blend mode you need to know is Lighten, which is great for creating star trails, or something that I use all the time for is stacking together multiple lightning images. In Lightroom, use the Command key to select all of the images that you want to include in the stack. Go up to Photo, Edit in and open as layers in Photoshop. And once you have all of your images opened as layers in Photoshop, hold down Shift, select the top image, and then click on the second from the bottom image. Go up and change the blend mode from normal down to lighten, and you can see that all of the lightning strikes are showing through. In order to get the best results, you still usually have to do a little bit of masking by hand. Next up is screen, which is great for adding haze or atmosphere to accentuate depth in your images. Go down to the bottom right and add a new layer and change our blend mode from normal down to screen. At this point, we're going to grab a brush tool and change our flow or opacity to somewhere around 10%. And we're going to make sure our hardness is at 0. Use Alt or Option to sample a nearby color in the sky where you want to add the haze. And I'm going to use the right bracket key to make our brush size a little bit bigger. And from here, we're going to simply brush in a layer of haze into our photo. Try combining this technique of brushing in haze with some creative masking to achieve even more depth in your photos. Next up, we have overlay blend mode, which is great for adding light or dodging different parts of your images. Again, go down and create a new layer and change the blend mode from normal to overlay. We're going to grab a brush tool, make sure we're on the color white, and this time we're going to take the flow or opacity all the way down to somewhere around 5%. At this point, I'm simply going to brush in anywhere that needs light or burning in this photo. This is a technique called light painting, and it is an extremely useful tool for photographers to accentuate different parts of their photograph and brush in light where you see fit. Soft light is the de facto blend mode for burning or selectively darkening parts of your images. Create a new layer and change the blend mode from normal to soft light. From there, we're going to change our color swatch from white to black and grab our brush tool. And this time we're going to use a flow or opacity of around 10%. From here, you just simply brush in any sort of darkness or burning into your image where you want to contour or help give your photograph that sort of three-dimensional quality. You can see the difference before and after here and how it gives so much more dimensionality to the photo. And last but not least, we have luminosity. Whenever you add contrast to an image, you are inadvertently increasing the saturation as well. And you can see in this case, as I add contrast, the saturation becomes way too much or becomes a little bit over the top. So to counteract this, change the blend mode of your contrast or curves adjustment layer from normal down to luminosity, and you can have all of that contrast in the photo without affecting any of the saturation. And a special last one that didn't quite fit in: if you are using a high pass filter to sharpen your image, Use the blend mode soft light to sharpen your image a low amount. Use the blend mode overlay to sharpen your image a medium amount. And use the blend mode linear light to sharpen your image a very strong amount. And that is blend modes for nature photographers. Hopefully you learned something new with this video. If you want to join me on a photo adventure, check out my website, warnerwildernessphotography.com. Thank you again for watching. I'll see you next time.